You've been in a crash, you're hurt, and the insurance company just offered you $15,000. Sounds reasonable, right? Wrong. That same case could be worth $115,000 if you know what you're doing. I'm going to show you the exact system that took one of our clients from 0 offers to a $100,000 settlement, and how you can use it too. Hey folks, I'm Derrick. I'm a personal injury lawyer here in Simpsonville, South Carolina. I'm a former biomedical engineer with a master's degree, and I've been helping South Carolina families get what they deserve for years. I started in medical research, but I realized I wanted to help people in a different way. Today I run my practice here in my hometown, and I'm making this video because the insurance companies don't want you to know this stuff. They're banking on you not understanding how settlement values really work. By the end of this video, you'll know the 3-bucket system that determines every settlement amount. The one thing most people forget that costs them tens of thousands of dollars, and exactly how to document your case so the insurance company can't lowball you. I'm going to walk you through this same framework we use in our office to maximize every single claim. Here's what most people don't understand. When you're negotiating with an insurance company, they're not just making up numbers out of thin air. They have a system. It's actually rigged against you, but it's how they calculate settlement values. But if you don't know that system, you're going to leave a whole lot of money on the table. Insurance adjusters have one job: save their company money. They have quotas, they have shareholders, they have bonuses tied to how little they pay out. And they're trained to find every single reason to reduce your claim. But here's the thing. If you know how to fill up the right buckets with the right documentation, they can't deny what you're owed. Most people walk into this process thinking, well, I went to the doctor a few times, I missed some work, so I'll just tell them that and they'll be fair. You've been tricked with all of the commercials. That's not how this works. The insurance company is going to pay you the absolute minimum they think they can get away with. And if you don't have the documentation to prove every single penny you're owed, they're going to use that against you. This is why some people with $5,000 in medical bills get $5,000 settlements, while others with the same bills get 25 grand. It ain't luck. It's not about having a better lawyer, all that helps. It's about understanding the system and filling up every bucket with rock solid documentation. So let me break down this 3-bucket system. This is how every settlement value is calculated, whether you're handling it yourself or you hire a lawyer like us. Bucket number 1 is your medical expenses. Now in South Carolina, I'm not talking about what you paid out of pocket. I'm not talking about your co-pays or your deductibles. I'm talking about every single penny that was charged by the hospital, by the surgeon, by the chiropractor, by the physical therapist, every single bill. Now this bucket is non-negotiable. In South Carolina, the car insurance company owes you for every penny of those charges, not what your health insurance paid, not what you owe after insurance, the full amount that was billed. Here's what I want you to do. Get a complete and detailed list of every single medical bill. And I don't mean just a spreadsheet. I mean the actual documentation from the provider that shows exactly what the bill is. Every visit, every procedure, every test, all of it. Don't get lost on what you personally have to pay. That doesn't matter for this calculation. What matters is the full sticker price. If your emergency room visit was 15 grand, but your health insurance paid $3,000, the hospital wrote off $11,500, and you paid $500 copay, the insurance company still owes you for that full 15 grand. That's how this works. This bucket is easy to fill up. You just need documentation, okay? But most people don't get all of it. They forget about one of the visits. They forget about a physician bill at the ER. They don't include the physical therapy bills because they're still coming in. Well, that costs them money. Now, bucket number 2 is your lost wages. And this one can be tricky depending on what kind of job you have. If you're self-employed, you're going to need your tax returns, your 1099s, maybe contracts that you missed while you were out of work. You're going to need a detailed compilation of everything about your income. But if you're a W-2 employee, you need to document this carefully too. Get your pay stubs, get documentation from your employer about the time you missed. And here's the key thing that most people don't know. Even if you use paid time off, even if you got paid for those days you missed, the insurance company still owes you for that time. This is one of the few times you can get double paid for something. You got paid by your employer using PTO, and the insurance company has to reimburse you for those too. Don't leave that money on the table. This bucket is also non-negotiable. They owe you every single penny of lost wages that you can document. So make sure you're documenting all of it. Bucket number 3, it's where the real money is. This is your pain and suffering bucket. And this can be a little bit of a gray area. This is also where there's a lot of art to this negotiation. Your first two buckets are full and non-negotiable. Medical bills, lost wages. Those are hard numbers. But this third bucket, this is where you make your argument about what your injuries actually cost you in the terms of your quality of life. And here's what you need to understand. This bucket requires its own set of documentation. And this is the one thing that most people forget that costs them tens of thousands of dollars. I want you to write everything down. And I mean everything. When you started to hurt, what did the pain feel like? How did that impact your daily life? I want you to document every single thing you couldn't do because of this crash. Couldn't pick up your kids? Write it down. Couldn't play tennis for 3 months? Write it down. Couldn't swing a golf club the way you used to? Write it down. Had to miss your daughter's soccer game? Write it down. Couldn't go on a family vacation you'd been planning forever? Write it down. These things sound trivial when you say them out loud right now, but they're not trivial to you when you're in pain, and they deserve compensation. The problem is, if you don't document them, you may not remember them later, and the insurance company is going to act like they never happened. You also need to be telling your doctors about all of this. When you go to your appointments, don't just say, my back still hurts. Tell them, my back hurts so much I can't pick up my 3-year-old daughter. Tell them I had to miss 2 days of work. Tell them you can't sleep through the night because of the pain. All of that information goes into your medical records, and those medical records become the evidence of your pain and suffering. The more detailed your documentation, the harder it is for the insurance company to argue that you aren't really hurt. If you have to go to 35 chiropractic visits or 35 physical therapy appointments, that's not just medical bills. That's also pain and suffering. You had to take time off of work. You had to find childcare. You had to sit in a waiting room. You had to do painful exercises. Sometimes you're in more pain after those appointments. All of those things deserve compensation. Now here's where people make the biggest mistake. They let the insurance company tell them what their case is worth. The adjuster calls and says, we'll give you your medical bills plus $2,000 for pain and suffering. And people think, well, that sounds pretty good. No, you need to have your own number first. You need to look at all your buckets, add up bucket 1, add up bucket 2, and then figure out what bucket 3 is worth based on how long you were injured, how many days you were in pain, how much your life was disrupted. Figure out what feels right there. Then you pick a number that's higher than what you actually want to get. This gives you room to negotiate. If you think your case is worth $25,000, you start at 35 or even 50. Now you have a range to work with. If the insurance company comes back and offers you 20, you're in the ballpark. You can negotiate from there. But if you let them make the first offer and they say $8,000, now you're starting from a terrible position. Here's a real example. We had a client, let's call her Susie. She came to us about 2.5 years after her car crash. She had been trying to handle this on her own. She'd been talking to the insurance company for years. She'd had surgical recommendations, countless doctor visits, documentation about what's going on in her life, but she couldn't get them to budge because she was only telling them what was going on, and they wouldn't offer her a single penny. When she came to us, she had been missing what the adjuster was looking for. She hadn't filled up all her buckets with the right documentation. We got all our medical bills together, every single one. We documented her lost wages, and we put together a detailed picture of her pain and suffering with her personal notes and her medical records. We sent our demand to the insurance company with all of these 3 buckets full and documented, and we were able to get her $100,000, the entire policy of the at-fault driver. That's the difference documentation makes. Now here's what you need to avoid. Do not settle your case until you know the full extent of your injuries. I keep coming back to this over and over and over again. Even if you don't have a lawyer, you need to wait until you're done with treatment or you know exactly what your future looks like. You might be sitting here 2 weeks after the crash with $3,000 in medical bills and $500 in lost wages, and the insurance company calls and offers you $6,000. Sounds pretty good, right? But what if that nagging pain in your knee turns out to be a torn meniscus that needs surgery? Now you got $30,000 in medical bills, but you've already settled for $6,000. You can't go back. Once you sign that release and cash that check, it's over. In South Carolina, you have 3 years from the date of your crash to file a lawsuit. So you've got time. Don't let them rush you. Don't let them pressure you into settling before you know what you're dealing with and before you filled up all 3 buckets. So here's exactly what you need to do. Number 1, get every single medical bill, not just the ones you paid, every bill that was charged. Number 2, document all of your lost wages, including the PTO days you used. Number 3, write down everything about your pain and suffering, every activity you missed, every night you couldn't sleep, every time you couldn't do something that you normally could. Number 4, Tell your doctor everything. Get your pain and suffering into your medical records. And number 5, calculate your own settlement value before the insurance company makes an offer. Fill up all 3 buckets and know what your case is worth. Number 6, you got to start high. Not outrageous. Don't try to settle your case for $100,000 if you only got $3,000 in meds. Don't try to get $1 million, but give yourself room to negotiate. And number 7, don't settle until you're done with treatment and you know the full extent of your injuries. Give yourself some time. Even if you're not getting medical treatment, give yourself a month or 2. Just wait. You've got plenty of time. Now, here's the bottom line. The difference between a $15,000 settlement and a $115,000 settlement isn't luck, it's documentation. It's knowing how to fill up all 3 of these buckets with evidence that the insurance company can't ignore. Remember, bucket 1, every single penny of your medical bills. Bucket 2, every single penny of your lost wages. And bucket 3, detailed documentation of your pain and suffering. Get all these buckets full and you can maximize your settlement. Now, if you want more strategies for handling your South Carolina car accident claim, hit subscribe. I share this kind of information all the time to help South Carolina families get what they deserve. And if you're dealing with this right now and you're not sure if you're doing it right, don't wait. Most personal injury lawyers, including us, offer free consultations. We don't get paid until you get paid. So there's really no risk in at least talking to someone who knows this system. We've put together a video on whether you should hire a lawyer for your car accident, and you can check that out right here.